Hold up, Trout. Hold up, Trout. Now what you got here is a little Xanthosoma, sagittifolium. I got dang arrowleaf elephant there. Look at that jank, right? But then, yo, we really up in the the plant store out here. Look at how many little ones are just growing around here, dude. And they be making bank off of these in the plant store too. Golly, now if I was really a capitalist, I'd just be plucking all these out the ground. Now I don't really believe in plucking, plants that are well established out the ground for real. But if I see one and I feel like it's not doing as well as it could, like this one right here, it probably ain't getting enough light or whatever, it might be getting stomped on, I might pluck it out. Damn, shawty, who hurt you? Was it Derek Jackson? Did Derek Jackson hurt you?
You know what's wild? My friend pointed this out to me. They had a bet on the 2021 quarter, which is wild because everybody thought it was knock it coronavirus. Now, it's not so. This was actually a Samoan bet, but it's just crazy. Now, it's crazy because the 2021 quarter is Tuskegee Airmen, and if you know anything about Tuskegee, that's where my roots are. The fact that they doing this around the time they rolling out this vaccine is crazy, and also Isaiah Bradley is canon in the MCU. But welcome to another episode of Mostly Plant. Yo, all right, hold on. I actually ain't even do this on purpose. I didn't know this tree was here. This is a monkey no climb tree. All right, this is really dope. I did not. I'm gonna flip the camera around so I can show y'all. You know what's wild? I swear I didn't do this on purpose, but this actually fits the theme of today's show quite well. Now this is a monkey no climb tree, or at least that's what we call it. It has a couple different names. What's the Latin name for it? It's Hera something. It's in that Hera genus, which is endemic to like Mesoamerica, South America, and the West Indies. Now it's called a sandbox tree also, and then it's also called a dynamite tree. And the reason why is because when the fruit gets mature, it literally explodes, right? It quite literally busts a nut or a seed, I guess. Now the point of that is, we know that fruit is for seed dispersal primarily, so this tree has just taken out the middleman and decided to disperse its own seed. So this fruit, when it reaches maturity, actually explodes, and it can bust like 150 miles an hour. Like, it busts. So that fits the theme of today's show quite well, and I promise I ain't do this on purpose, but that's a monkey no climb tree for you. What else can I really say about this tree? You see why it's called a monkey no climb tree. You see the spines on this thing. It's pretty gnarly. Part of the Euphorbiaceae family. My favorite personally. It's a lot of gnarly plants in this plant family. It's Euphorbiaceae. It just don't miss, dog. It just don't miss. It's like Kendrick albums. So yeah, Euphorbiaceae, genus Hera. That's something I can say about. So the sap on this tree was actually used by the Caribs as like a poison. So they would tip their arrows with it, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, fishermen would also use it as a fish poison. So that's a monkey no climb tree for you. All right, I'm gonna keep it moving so we can actually talk about the trees I wanted to get into. Plus, I'm in a restricted area, so I gotta go. Keep it 100 with y'all. When I first encountered this plant, I didn't know what to make of this, dude. I was walking with my homegirl. I was walking with Karen, and I said, "Karen, what is this right here?" And you can see the sign. It's a sign right here. It clearly says screw pine. But knowing the name of the plant, really doesn't do anything for me. And it really won't do anything for you if you want to know about the plant, about its ecological purposes, what it does in nature, what it's related to. Just knowing the name of the plant ain't gonna do anything. I guess if you just want to sound smart, you feel me, and impress your little busted baby or whatever, you can be like, yeah, baby, this is a screw pine. This is a Pandanus utilis, you feel me? And this pine ain't the only thing that's gonna be screwing. You feel me? You could do that if that's what you want to do. I'm not gonna knock it. If you just want to sound smart, impress your shawty or whatever, you can do that. But if you really want to know the ecological purposes of this plant, just knowing the name really ain't gonna do anything for you. So I had to do some research on this. Now, of course, I don't have to tell y'all that. I could have just came on here and acted like I knew it all already, but I think that's kind of lame personally. I like transparency. Plus, as far as ecology and especially botany goes, we're all here to learn. I mean, that's what science is all about. It's about challenging what you already know and learning new stuff. So I feel like it'd be kind of lame for me not to for me to give y'all the impression that I just already know everything. For the most part, a lot of the plants we've talked about before, I know about pretty well. But this one, man, I didn't know what to make of this one. And you can see why. Hold up, let me back up so I can show you. You really, just by looking at it, can't tell what's what on this plant. You know, judging by the roots, it looked like it could be related to mangroves. It also looked like it could be related to fig, you know, in the ficus family. You know, judging by the fruit, it looks like it could be related to pineapples. Now, of course, we know it's not, because pineapples are in the Bromeliadaceae family, and this tree clearly ain't a bromeliad. But the point I'm trying to make is, because of convergent evolution, sometimes, you know, the parts of plants can look similar, and so plants aren't really identified by their leaves or by their roots or by what their fruit looks like. Plants are identified by their reproductive structures, especially angiosperms. You know, angiosperms are identified by their reproductive structures. So this plant right here it almost looks like a palm just based upon the leaves, but of course it's not. Palms being in the Colocasia family, and this screw pine is not in the Colocasia family. And as we've talked about, it almost could look like a pineapple, but we know it's not in the Bromeliadaceae family. And then, as the name suggests, it could be a pine in the Pinaceae family, but obviously this ain't a pine. So what is it? Well, it is in the Pandanaceae family. It's in a family endemic to Madagascar, I believe. And look, real quick, you can see why it's called a screw pine, because, I mean, look, you know, I mean, it's pretty straightforward. Now, these leaves are gnarly too. If I could really zoom in on the leaves, man, it's real cool. It got these teeth. It almost looks like it almost has the same teeth as like a saw palmetto, if you're familiar with South Florida ecology. These pectinate kind of leaves, these pectinate leaves have these teeth on them, man. Y'all ever seen that movie Teeth? It's a terrible movie, but I remember it was all the rage when I was in like 7th, 8th grade when Netflix first dropped. Y'all ever see that movie? Vagina dentata. There go the teeth right there. You see that? Those are pectinate right there. It's even on the bottom. It's even on the bottom. All right, that's crazy. But what was I saying? This is part of Pandanaceae family. Okay, so it's not a pine. It's not a palm. And it's clearly not a bromeliad. The fruit, from what I've read about the fruit, I've never tried the fruit, but from what I've read about the fruit, it is edible, and it's cultivated throughout Africa and has been for a long time. Now, the funny thing about it is, it was used in Africa for quite a long time, not only for the fruit, but also for other purposes. And yet, some French dude is credited with the discovery of it, you know, some Jean-Baptiste de Saint-Vincent or some shit. Now, it's always some white man that's credited for the discovery of something that people are already knowing about. Like, white people discovered America, but it was already people living there. That's crazy. It's almost like discovered just means white people found out about it. But I digress. That's a screw pine. I said really all I wanted to say about, you know what, actually what's really cool about these trees too is they're dioecious. So this is a female tree, it's fruit bearing, you know, and you have male trees that are not fruit bearing. They're the suppliers of pollen, you know, which is plant semen, obviously. Oh, you know what? Before I go, I did want to talk about the roots, and the reason why is because this tree, it doesn't really have a secondary growth. You know, in most kind of trees, they have a secondary growth. They will develop, you know, harder wood in order to support the tree. Now this tree doesn't really have secondary growth, so instead what happens is it creates these roots, and these roots are like anchor roots, you know, and they'll serve to support the tree. Now obviously they have roots for nutrients under the ground, but these prop roots right here are just for support, basically. So that's what kind of makes it look like a mangrove. But I think that's really all I got to say about this screw pine. So there's one more tree I want to talk about, and then we're going to call it for today. So, yeah. All right, I'm not going to hold you. I don't purposely be talking about palms, because palms can get kind of redundant. Just that RKCA can get real redundant, especially down here in Florida, man. You always see palms. I'd be tired of talking about palms, but as you can see, I am willing to make an exception, because look at this one. Actually, it's a gorgeous tree right here, but look at the spines on this jank, boy. It's gnarly as hell. I'm using that word a lot today, but yeah, that's the word of the day. This gnarly. Look, they even on the leaves. Can you see that? Can I zoom in on it? You know I'm on the iPhone. I don't know if this shit can zoom. Bro, these spines are even on the leaves. Alright? And they not no peach fuzz. I know it's called a peach palm, but these janks is they hurt. Like, they for real. Like, these are real spines, dog. That's crazy. Now, me and Karen was talking about this tree too, because I was like, man, what's the point of even having these spines on here? Palms, you would think palms want a good fruit dispersal, because you know, they do produce fruit. You know, this peach palm produces a fruit, and peach palms are actually eaten by people as well. Now you have to cook them to eat them. They're not just readily digestible for human consumption. You got to cook them, but people do eat them, and they say it's a super fruit or whatever. I kind of resent that type of narrative about superfoods and all of that, because food is food. I mean, some is more nutritious than others, but it's a lot of food with a lot of nutrients. I think the whole superfood thing is just some capitalistic. It's kind of how I feel about herbalism. You know, it's the same thing. Like, I say, just for the sake of conversation, that I'm not into herbalism, but that's not entirely true, because there is a lot of herbalism that I do stand by. But I personally just don't like to subscribe to a lot of things that herbalism promotes, because it's very capitalistic and professes not to be. It professes to be the antithesis of you know, pharmaceutical capitalism, but it's really just another side of that coin. But I digress. So it does produce a fruit, and so you would ask yourself, you know, if palms want decent fruit dispersal, because the seeds are in the fruit, they want decent seed dispersal, why have all of these defenses, you know, where climbing animals can't get to them and shit? And the most obvious answer that could occur to me is, you know, the climbing animals aren't really the intended audience, if you will, for those fruits. So plants are smart, man. They know what kind of animals are going to disperse their fruit seeds most efficiently. And so, yo, if you want real efficient seed dispersal, what you got to do is appeal to the birds. So hey, if climbing animals can't get to this fruit for real, that means more birds can. And so boom, then you got a spread out colony of peach palms. You know, obviously these palms, they got wide canopies, all right? They don't want to be up under each other trying to grow and compete for sunlight. They want to be spread out. So they need that spread out fruit dispersal. That's where the birds come in. That's my personal theory. But you know, if you have any theories, man, or if I just sound like I'm full of it, let me know in the comments. That's really all I got to say about this peach palm. I mean, it's just cool, man. I'm gonna get some pictures of this. But yeah, that's about it. So, stay sexy out here, good folks, and I'll holler at y'all on the next one. He doing them push-ups. Oh, yep, there you go. I bet he gonna put. Oh, yep, there you go. That made me horny. That's what them push-ups mean. And when they flap that little red thing, oh yeah, he trying to get him some. Ooh, you on a roll today. It's 8:43 in the AM, and you just getting it, huh?